Welcome back to Westmoreland on the Gridiron. Sean Meyers joined by the head coach of the Derry Area Trojans, Mike Arone, who is coming off of his first career victory guiding Derry Area, a thrilling win against Greensburg Salem this past Friday. First off, Mike, congratulations, 26-21. But the most significant thing is snapping that losing streak that had stretched back to before your time there. What did it mean to you and to the entire group of players to finally get a victory?
Well, thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me, number one. Just as a team, everyone, there was a lot of emotion after that game. Some kids with tears in their eyes, and rightly so. Like, it's an emotional game. And so to get that win was big for us. It's not about me. It's not about our coaches. It's about our kids. But as a team, man, it felt great. It felt great for the community, a lot of support there. So we're just happy to finally get that monkey off our back a little bit, and hopefully can just use that as a springboard moving forward to stack up some more.
I'm sure whether you and the players admit it or not, there was certainly a lot of people who realized that the streak had become the longest in the WPIAL. Various other teams that had long streaks won, and then, of course, Brownsville left the district to play independently. So was that something was it building pressure amongst your players, amongst the program, knowing that was looming?
We were trying to have it not. I think us as coaches, it was pressure packed for us. Me particularly. I just don't like to lose. Anybody in this position doesn't. So we were trying to not put that type of pressure on our kids. Take it 1 week at a time. Understand this is a new season, and so, I think our staff did a pretty good job of that. So I don't really think there was a whole lot of pressure there on the kids. They understood it was a brand new season, and we just had to go get number one and go from there.
Well, speaking of a new season, you started, of course, with that week 0 rivalry matchup against Greater Latrobe. And obviously, they won pretty convincingly, although your team showed some signs of life late in that game. What was the feeling like after that game concluded, and how did your team kind of show some resiliency to bounce back and get this victory just a week later?
Well, we told our kids at halftime of that game, we have to find some success here. We got to start doing some things to springboard again into next week. I thought we did that. We put up 14 points, albeit against Latrobe's 2s and 3s, but that's okay. We had to find a win there somehow. We did. Went back to work on Monday at practice and just sent the message to our kids again, that one's over. We got to forget about it. Had a good week of practice this week. So again, I think our kids understood the challenge that Latrobe presented us. And did we play? Was the outcome what we wanted? No. Did we play as well as we wanted? No. But our kids bought into, hey, it's 1 week at a time. Forget about the past, move forward. And like I said, had a good week of practice, and we used that this week to come out on top.
I don't know if it's the case with your team in this instance, but a lot of times when a team struggles to win games, you have to almost start to believe that you can win games before it actually happens. Was there a point either prior to or even during the game against Greensburg Salem where you felt like now the team really does believe?
I think leading up to in practice last week, we practiced really well. The kids, I think the kids do believe that they can win. But like you said, in the back of your mind, sometimes it's almost like, oh, here we go again. So that I thought we played really well in the first half, obviously. At halftime, our kids were excited. But at halftime, they were also saying all the right things of, hey, this one's not over. We have to go out and finish. So they got it. But at halftime, obviously, it felt good to have a 26-point cushion. And we were able to hold on at the end. So that was the biggest point, I think, for our kids, understanding as well as they played in that first half and then finishing drives and scoring 26 points, that they gave themselves some cushion to come out and be able to win it at the end.
We've already spent plenty of time in the show talking about Ahmad Ward, and he's our player of the week. So Flick will be talking to him upcoming in just a little bit. But I want to get your perspective, because it looked like, obviously, the statistics show that he had a special performance. What did you see from him that stood out against Greensburg Salem?
We challenged him as a coaching staff. We challenged him before the game to kind of be the leader of this team. Was not real happy with his performance against Latrobe, and I know he was frustrated too. So We challenged him. He obviously stepped up to that challenge. He ran the ball hard. Obviously, the 100-yard pick six, he also blocked a punt. Never came off the field on defense. So he was he was there offensively, defensively, and special teams. And he was also there encouraging his teammates. So it was a special game for him. And we're gonna expect that kind of performance moving forward. And hopefully that kind of sparks some other kids to also try to put up big numbers themselves or do what they can to impact the game. So special night for him, and we're hoping for more moving forward.
And so he accounted for all your touchdowns, but obviously it's a team effort to win a game like that and to fend off a second half rally that the Golden Lions put together. Who else notably stood out for their performance in guiding your team to that win?
I just want to say up front, as a collective, our offensive line, I thought got a lot better. Colin Barkley, in particularly, on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensively, had a heck of a game. So those guys up front, and I think Ahmad will be the first one to tell you, there were a few of his runs, actually all three of his touchdown runs, I believe, he was pretty much untouched. So he didn't do all that on his own. Damari had another good game, solid on defense. On Ahmad's interception return, he threw a block that kind of sprung Ahmad. But I was happy with our run defense in general as well. So those guys up front, our inside backers, played a good game. So it's a team effort. We all know that. Ahmad stood out, but the entire team played much better, and we're going to need to continue to do that moving forward to be successful.
I'm sure that after the victory, you got a lot of words of congratulation, messages, things of that nature. But especially in smaller communities, I think football means so much that it's not just when the team's winning, but they want to come out and support the team, win or lose. What did you see from the time that you started guiding this program in terms of the community support that the Trojans were getting, even when they weren't winning games?
Sure. I mean, it's great. I come from a small community myself where I was born and raised and coached for years. And Derry's very similar, blue collar, hardworking people. They love football. They love all their sports. And everyone's been supportive, even through the losing, and I've said this before, that a lot of people said, "Oh, you look like you're getting better. You're getting there." And when you're playing a game like this, that the outcome is you want to win, you kind of get sick and tired of hearing that you're just getting better. Sooner or later, you got to start winning games. And we were able to do that. But I can't say enough about the entire community here, from the student body to in the school to everybody outside of it. Big support. Everyone gets excited for Friday nights, and it's just a great feeling.
I know a great feeling, of course, last Friday, but from one win now you want to start a streak of winning because you snapped that long losing skid. It's not going to be easy, however. You're going against a team that is, I would say, one of the most impressive that we have seen in Westmoreland County so far this season, the Southmoreland Scotties. Their running game has been special, but I think maybe a little bit underrated has been how good their defense has been as well. When you look at them, and I know that there's obviously some familiarity since they're relatively close geographically, what are the first aspects of their team that comes to mind to you?
Well, obviously, first and foremost, the running back, Craig Ed, he's the real deal. He'll run over you, he'll run around you, and if he gets by you, he's gone. You're not catching him. So, we have to do our best to. You're not going to contain him, but you have to, do your best to bottle him up and not let him beat you alone. But besides that, Kiefer, the quarterback, has a strong arm. Keffer, the wide receiver, I believe, led the WPIAL in receptions last year. So they can hurt you from a number of different ways. And yes, their defense is much improved. So big challenges there, big challenges. But again, I'm hoping our kids we have a game plan in place. We're going to practice that this week. And hopefully our confidence is high enough that we can go in and understand that we can compete with these guys. And you never know, you keep it close at the end and you go from there.
We talked about some of their standout players, maybe the best receiver in the county last year, and maybe the best running back so far this year. When you're going against great players like that, does it maybe bring out the best in your guys, especially a guy like Ahmad Ward, who I'm sure has a little chip to kind of prove that he's as good as them?
Yeah, you hope it does. And you talk about that in practice with some of your better players. Saying, look at the attention that this particular player might be getting. Well, hey, look at the numbers you put up. So absolutely it does. And it's a challenge type thing. We like to, they say iron sharpens iron. We take that mantra into practice, and we like to put our best against our best. And they do that. They challenge each other. They compete in practice. So yeah, absolutely. I think our kids are ready to step up to that challenge and be known themselves. But they're a handful. There's no doubt about that. But we're going to be prepared, and our kids are going to play hard, and we'll see where we are.
Other than the obvious, which is trying to somehow slow down their star players, what are the biggest keys to have success?
I think, again, we have to control the ball, and we have to finish. We were able to do that somewhat. This past week against Salem, we finished drives. We made big plays. But I think first and foremost, number one is we have to make them earn everything as well. We can't just give up 60-yard home runs, 70-yard home runs. We have to make them earn everything, make them snap it again, as they say, and continue to earn their way down the field and not give up big plays. I think if we do those two things, then hopefully we're in the game at the end, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Lastly, Mike, I know that the first win was so significant, as we mentioned at the beginning, but how do you make sure that this is just the first step in many to get this program back to where ultimately you and everyone involved wants to take it?
Yeah, I mean, it's cliched, but it's the truth. Like, you just got to take one game at a time. Just like we told our kids yesterday during practice, just like we had to forget about the Latrobe loss, we now have to forget about last week's win and move forward to Southmoreland. We enjoyed it over the weekend. The kids enjoyed it over the weekend. But now we have to move forward, and that's what you have to do. Take one game at a time, and hopefully if you do that and you're prepared for each game, you can start to string a few wins together, and then you gain some confidence, and the sky's the limit. But we just have to focus on one game at a time, forget about last week, and move forward.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Once again, congratulations on your first victory guiding Derry Area last Friday.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean.
Absolutely. That is Mike Arone, the head coach of the Derry Area Trojans. We'll take a quick break and continue with more right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.